What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So it is a bright and beautiful Saturday over here, and before we get into the video, I just have to tell you this funny story. So, as you know, on Twitter and so forth, I have a shark, and it's a mentality of going after it, buying the blood, and buy the red, sell the green type thing. And so my son's friend come over, and he's 8 years old, and he had asked, because I have my little mascot right here that I got on IKEA or something, but I also have the little Lego man shark as well. And he's like, well, why a shark? And then I was like, buy the blood. And he's like, why would you buy the blood? I'm like, okay. So, and then I had to explain to him this big terminology of, what it is, what it means. And he asked a few more questions, and he's like, well, why not be a wolf? And I'm like, I don't know, because I like sharks, but why a wolf? And he's like, because you have gray hair on your chin like a wolf. And I'm like, oh my, this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was dying laughing. Like, kids these days are just too much. And as I approach my late 30s, it's like, yeah, I got some gray chin hair, and whatever, it is what it is. But I just thought that was so funny. It's like, I was like, I have to tell everybody. So I really enjoyed that moment. So I guess I can be a gray wolf from now on, as well as a shark. But we had a really good week last week. Good week prior. Everything I talk about on this channel are always trade ideas. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not take my opinions as, something to buy. I'm really just here for the community saying, hey, this could be good. This could be good. This might be a good entry, but, trade your own trade. Go after what you want to go after, and, just play the volume or what have you. So same thing week to week. Putting out ideas saying, hey, this could be a good one because of this. This could be a good one because of this. So since the channel's been back, a couple of weeks, successful week 1, successful week 2. We talked about HDUP, we talked about HIRU. And if you follow me on Twitter recently, GMZP was a huge runner, and we'll talk about that one a little bit today as well. But we'll go ahead and get into the channel. Just wanted to share that that funny moment with you guys. I was like, shark, I guess I'll get a wolf, mascot as well. But let's go ahead and get into today's video. All right. So as we dive in today's video, and over the past couple weeks, you've seen a lot of momentum runners that have catalysts coming. So as I've stated before, I'm a catalyst trader. Now in the OTC markets, is it possible to hold long? Sure. Are you going to experience a lot of volatility? Yes, because a lot of OTC is retail driven. So, you do have your algorithms and your computers and, your market makers and so forth. But a lot of it is what retail wants to buy. So if retail, as in people like me, like you, and everybody else watching, if they don't like the stock, they're not going to put their money into it, which isn't going to drive the price. Now, that company can put out news and so forth, which can cause pops and then drops and so forth. But, the liquidity isn't there that used to be. So it's an adaptable market. Everybody says, oh, OTC struggling. And it is, but it's changing. So it's not like it used to be where you could put in $1,000 and then a month later the stock runs 3,000%, and you're like, oh wow, that was brilliant, let's do it again. Like, duh, like who doesn't want to do that? So now it is more of a trader's market. So that's why, over the past year, I play catalyst, because that's where the volume will be. I like to get in early and accumulate and then, ride it up. So entries are always going to be, tit for tat. So you never know really what you're going to get. And sometimes it doesn't always work out, but we're going to talk about HDUP a little bit today. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, but now we are getting close to that date. So just looking at the chart here, we originally got in like 4s, 5s, the 6s, 7s. Like at any point that you got in, like you were probably in the green. So now we're having a little bit of consolidation. And then, RSI had to cool off a little bit, but, just wanted to show, HDUP will come out of a mandated quiet period on or before March 15th, which is only a few days away, as a part of a multi-party NDA encompassing new market product launches, key acquisitions and closings, and business unit consolidations, all leading to the company's merger and listing on a higher tier exchange. So, a lot of people will say it's already ran. Has it? Yes. It did make a nice move. It, from 3s, 4s, almost 11s, 12s, wherever it hits, we'll go ahead and look back at it where it wicked off. Yeah, so it didn't break into 12s, but almost 200%, which is awesome. Now it's consolidating right around here. So you can see it's riding this blue 8MA up, and then you have the 200MA right down here, a little above 0.83. So, a lot of people have been catching dips, waiting and waiting. So we don't know what they're going to say. We have no clue what they're going to bring out or how much information. Will it be a PR? Will it be multiple PRs? Will it be a marketing team? Will it be a super 8K? So I'm really interested to see how they, bring this into the market. Is it just going to be one big PR? What I'm really looking forward are more forward dates. So what is going to keep retail interested? Are they going to say, we're going to spin off our subs into this new SPAC shell on this date? If so, it's going to grind up, it's going to run, it's going to be awesome. So keep an eye on that one. It has the big potential. It's hit, over 20 cents earlier or later last year. But the next one I'm going to talk about, and it's like beating a dead horse. I feel like I always talk about HIRU because I think it has a lot of potential. It gets a lot of heat. Because there's just not a lot of volume into it, and they did have some shares being churned out by whether it was a loan or a conversion, and retail hates that, but it brings new opportunity. So when I talked about it in the last video and I said, hey, look, it's churning, but they have news coming up, they have financials coming up, it could go, and it popped. So if you got 20, you sold over 03s, you're at 50%. But same thing, everybody has a different entry point. Some get in late, some get in early, whatever. But it almost double bottomed again, and I think that had to do with a lot of negativity that was coming from the financials. And the company, they're trying to do a lot with a little, and they're trying to please retail, but they sometimes will get delayed, or sometimes it gets wish-washed, and they don't come through exactly at that moment. But there's a lot of moving parts with this one, and anything under 002 for a company that has high revenue, that's growing, that loves to communicate with shareholders, loves to put PRs out, and wants to continually grow, I'm a big fan of. So I just want to share what they talked about because they had some questions. A lot of people were, upset about the financials. It didn't really make sense. So as they put, financials revised correctly with no notes, hired a new CPA firm for second quarter, no shares issued this year, also canceled a whole rack of shares from last year. And then, question one, SQF Denman, renewal schedule. So for the SQF, and then it was paperwork filed, back end stuff. When can we expect corrected financials? They already hit it with that. How many of the 9 lines are you currently in operation? 5 of them. When will you release a PR about Vols and BLK? As you said, contracts have already been signed. PRs in review for new customers. When approved, it will happen. Will be this month for sure. So boom, that is at least one catalyst. So expect contract PRs from at least these companies, and they hinted at others. So I will always accumulate this one, and then same thing, as it moves up, you can always trim some off and, re-add your trims or go long or, flip it, do whatever you want. But, same thing, they're communicating with everybody. They're trying to get stuff in line. So I wanted to pull up the actual financials that were amended just so we could see. So as you can see here, promissory and convertible notes, zilch. There is none. The only thing that we see are what could be a loan from SPQS, let's see, Bureau, Zoran, and so forth. But these are all restricted. So these were issued in September, October. So just a few months ago. Well, actually, I guess it's almost 6 months ago. So, and Section 4A1, they're restricted. So I don't know the conversion terms, restrictive terms, but they're probably locked for at least 12 months. Could be longer, could be 18, could be 24, but I'd say at least 12. And then usually at that point, even the only amount they can sell is 5% a day or something crazy. So this has a lot of potential going forward if there's no more dilution. We still see OTCN on the ask a lot, but I think it looks a lot better on Friday. I saw a lot of buying that really pushed it back from 18s into the 20s. So same thing, beating a dead horse, but I think this one has a lot of potential this year. So, I'll be talking about it often. You can always skip through this part if you don't want. Next one I'm going to talk about is GTII. This thing is awesome. This is a trader's dream. I mean, this chart is gorgeous. You can see the uptrend happening. And we talked about the April 1st catalyst. I'm like, I'm just grabbing all the dips, grabbing everything I can. 150s, 160s, slowly accumulating. I don't want to go in and say, oh, I'm going to buy 10,000 shares, and then it dips. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't buy any more because now I'm stuck with this. So that's one thing about me. I love to accumulate. So, it had a nice day on Friday. It was just kind of churning out, churning. And then I was wondering why. I had no clue. And then it says here, if you go through and read this new PR, they're issuing a dividend. They don't have a specific date yet. But, now they have a catalyst. They have the Alpine catalyst, for the actual shorter and so forth that's coming with the court date. Not sure how much that will actually grow on to GTII, but it'll be a big win for, people with naked shorting and so forth. But you're going to get a ratio of 1 share for every 10 shares owned to be decided at a record date. That is huge because, one, I don't want to call this a cult stock, but it is. People, love this. They think it has a bright future, huge price tags. I won't get into that because I don't give price tags. Anything. Not a financial advisor. But, trade your trade, do whatever you want to do. But there's a huge community behind this one. And now, not only do they have that big 1-800, acquisition closing on or before April 1st, so now they're going to be issuing a dividend, 1 for every 10 shares. And once they get that date, I'm telling you, this thing is going to grind. It is going to push. It is going to be great. We are going to love it because it is going to bring the gain train. So keep an eye on that one. Same thing we talked about last week. So even if you got in at any entry point, you were green because it had a gorgeous Friday. Second one I'm going to talk about is ePass. We talked about it last week, and I said this has big potential to run because they have a patent issue incoming. They are really active on Twitter. And, after that patent issue that, they basically put out here, so, you could see, ePass official issuance utility patent from the U.S. Patent Office for its AI predictive smart charging pad, Zenadrone. Hot sector, AI, patents, and then they mentioned down here they're actually going to be going through a little bit more. Let's see, the company's filed 2 other patents that are under review, and then go back to the chart. So that's why I said in the previous video, I said, I'm not worried about the SCAP right now. Will it fill eventually? Probably. But is it going to fill right now? No, it's not. So I really wanted to get 5s, but I couldn't because I saw the volume at open. I had to grab 0078 and then like 85. And I was like, oh man, well, I don't want to grab too much just in case it dips. But this thing just blasted for like days, just kept going and going. 2 cents. I mean, incredible. So, just a huge run. So, I mean, if you got 7s, 8s, I mean, whatever, if you were holding previously, this was a multi-100% runner last week. Trade's very thin. They do have some debt. So I went through all, the shares and so forth. So expect it, even if it runs hard, it is very thin. There's a chance it will come back down. As you can see, every huge run, there's a pretty hefty red candle after it. But, as they move forward, as it says right here, ePass Zenadrone is excited to showcase the Zenadrone 1000 to the U.S. Air Force in only 8 more days. March 16th and 17th will be monumental days for our company. So, some people don't like this company. Some people don't like Sean Pasley. They say, oh, he's a scammer, this and that. I don't get involved in any of that. Remember, Catalyst Trader, not going to say, this is the best company in the world, but, they're posting pictures with their drone. It's got the name all over it. Could it be Photoshopped? I don't know. I'm not going to, just get into all that. But they've just been very active, PRs left and right, and then deal with the Air Force this week. So, but I don't want to cover that one too much. It's ran a lot. Could it keep going? Absolutely. But, if you got in last week, great trade. If you're still holding, let's see what it does. Next one. This is the big boy. This is GMZP. So this was a shell by SSM Monopoly that, a couple years ago when the custo craze was happening. And, I mean, this thing just got taken out back, killed, and just beaten to death. Down to, under 0015. Nice share structure, but nobody had any clue what they were going to do with it. Then we have the shell tag thing coming up, and everybody's like, what's going to happen? Is it going to go dead? Everybody got worried. A lot of people were selling. So there wasn't many people that were holding in this. And then the longs that were holding, really benefited from it. But as you can see from this chart, this thing blasted straight up. As soon as I saw, and I got in late. I got in when it was up 200%. Or not even. It was like 180%. And I thought, I was a little nervous. I was like, okay. But, I saw who the new CEO was, which is Stephen Carnes. He's been with INKW, APSI, TLIF, which all had really good runs. And, he brought in really cool companies, niche companies, and very active companies. So there's a lot of speculation behind this one because it is sub-penny, with, smaller market cap and so forth, that it can really heat OTC up, which it already has. I've never seen so many people excited as I saw last week. Even small cap traders, NASDAQ options traders were getting in this thing. Nice volume. And, it blasted straight up. We had a spinning top here, so everybody was kind of uncertain which way it was going to go. But it was churning out tons of longs. I mean, I saw crazy selling in 004s, and I was like, I'll buy any dip, because if I know Stephen Carnes from his past companies, he's probably going to get a Twitter rolling. He's going to start hitting PRs, and then, maybe a merger acquisition. But we don't know when. We don't know how long. And then the PR hit, and that's when it just really pushed it up another 100%. Basically saying, if you want to go through and read this, that I have a clear vision I want to accomplish for both short-term and long-term future of the company. I believe the right strategy is quickly putting in place to achieve success by the company shareholders. I am fast-tracking an acquisition for the company, and I look forward to sharing details with shareholders as quickly as I can get everything processed. So you can see there's a lot of hype over this one, a lot of excitement. Does it need to cool down? Sure. Is it running super hot? Yes. Could it keep going? Yes. Does it need consolidation? Yes. So those are all yes questions. So it's kind of hard to gauge what's going to happen. Now, it did have a lower volume on Friday. And then same thing. I mean, still closed up flat or, a little bit green at 0078. But look at this run. This is why I love penny stocks. 0015 to 80s. Multi-hundred, 500% runner or more over the course of a week. So it can happen when retail gets behind it. But, same thing, you got to follow your important steps, whatever's best for you. If you want to buy and sell, you want to trade the trade, you want to go long, whatever. Same thing. Not a financial advisor, just share the ideas. But this thing can have the cojones to really go if, Stephen Carnes brings in a really cool merger that might have multiple acquisitions. So keep an eye on that one. Is it hot? Yes. But, I want to show you another hot stock. So, sitting RSIs at 89. This thing could run with a month with 90s RSI. I remember ATVK ran like 90 RSI for 6 weeks. And then just to show you, GDVM, this thing, look at this. This thing ran 90 RSI, had one dip. A month at a time where it was just constant green. So can it keep going? Yes. Is it going to have its dips and, so forth to cool off? Probably. But, excited for that one. And then just to show you their Twitter here, which popped up from the PR, they have their PR here. And then all of a sudden Friday, productive calls, multiple, and work yesterday with acquisition target on the fast track. So we should see something maybe this week, maybe next week. With the shell status imminent. So they might want to put something in there and get the shell thing filed off. So keep an eye on that one. I think retail can really rally behind this one, but if it's an awesome merger, it could keep going. Active company, we'll see what's going to happen with that. But it could also be a hot dog stand, what have you. I don't know why I always say that one, but it's funny. And then I'm trying to remember if I saw anything else in here. New Twitter, clear vision, relocated to Winter Park. So we'll see what he has to bring in it. Hopefully it's something exciting. He always does really good companies. APSI originally as a shell was what, pennies, and then once he took over, started the share cancellation. Was like, hey, look, it's going to take me a little bit, but once this thing gets going, it's going to go. So it ran from pennies, finally locked up by longs around 18 cents to 20 cents, waiting for a merger to happen. Merger happened, $80 million merger, ran to 70, 80 cents. So, that's why there's a lot of hype behind this one, because he is active. He does, bring in good companies, niche companies, and so forth. But yeah, so, and then the other two I'm just not going to talk about today. They'll probably be in the future videos. UATG, they have a lot in the pipeline, and now it's cooled off a little bit. As you can see here, holding this red line with the 200 MA at 5.6, and it's had 2 wicks below at 0.06, around this range, which was what, February, January lows. But they're finally starting to get active, finally starting to get it rolling. And then the other one is DUTV, DUTV. And this will probably take an entire video in itself, because Mark loves to talk, loves to explain things. The DD on this company would take probably hours to share. So just wanted to cover that one with you guys. We talked about HDUP. This week is the week. Let's see what they bring to the table. HIRU, golden opportunities always under 002. Whatever you want to do with the shares, that's up to you. But, it's a really good one. And then, as we look through, no convertible notes and so forth. So we should see the selling ease off. GTII, this thing is going to be fun. It really is. Look at this chart. It's going to be awesome, especially when they announce those record date for the dividends. It's going to be something. And then EPAS, a lot of speculation behind this one, but as you can see, it's been running like crazy. So, if you catch a dip 0-1s, pennies, sub pennies, whatever it may be, let's see if they bring a PR from the Air Force this week, which, they have talked about with the patents and so forth. And then, if not, no biggie. Then GMZP, one to watch. This thing, let's see what merger they bring in, but really exciting times ahead. And then, make sure you follow their Twitter as well for updates. And then these two we'll talk about going forward. But, if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section below. What are you looking at for this week? And then, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. See you.